Hiya! You know, even though spooky season is over, my love for the creepy still lives on. And one night, while I was browsing YouTube, I found a video. Curious, I clicked on it, and let me tell you, this is one of the best videos I've watched that, in my opinion, has done horror right. I know this is a different type of video than what I usually post, but I really want to talk about this video because it's something I genuinely like. I hope this doesn't disappoint you guys, and you enjoy what I have to say about this. Back to the point. So, the video is called My Red Sheep Developed a Creepy Smile by Ray Gloom Creepypasta. Of course, the thumbnail doesn't do the video justice because it's kind of a silly thumbnail, but we'll get to that later in the critique section of this video because yes, I do have some critiques of this video. Let's start the analysis.
Oh. How'd you get out? Wait, hold on. Okay. Where's my wheat? Okay, come back. Come back in, sheep. Come back. There you go.
We have a very cold opening here. No intro, no overdramatic YouTube stuff, just a cold opening, and we immediately get introduced to the main premise of the video, which is this red sheep escaping from confinement. We do get a little card that tells us that the sheep was normal up until this point, but I don't think that takes away from the opening. Of course, we do the usual checking for how the sheep can get out of the pen, and he does find some reasonable explanations for how the sheep got out. This is where I'm going to point out the length of the video. It's almost an hour long, which gives us plenty of time to set the groundwork for a slow burn of a video, and I appreciate this. It allows for us to build up to the scares rather than just spamming jump scares, but I'm getting ahead of myself. As time moves on, we have the same thing happening. The sheep gets out, the protagonist is confused, but ultimately he puts the sheep back into the pen. He even goes AFK in the game to see what the sheep does to get out, but is met with zero results. This is where the creepiness becomes a bigger factor. If it was just a normal sheep wandering about, it surely would have gotten out like this before, regardless of if he was watching it or not. Not to mention that this is the only sheep that does this, and and no other sheep does this. God. The only sheep that does this is the red sheep. However, every single time he lets the sheep out of his sight to go and take a nap, the sheep gets out. One thing he does is make a mine in the mountain where the sheep pen is located, probably just to keep sort of an eye on the sheep to see if it will escape while he's in proximity to it, but it doesn't. It's seemingly acting normal now. After he digs out of his mine, he goes to leave the pen, and I'll just show you what happens.
Still there. Red sheep is still there. Oh! Black sheep tried to get out. Please, don't go. You're one of my absolute favorite sheep. I love black sheep. You can do so much with black wool. Very valuable sheep. He tried to get out, but look, he couldn't. Oh, what's red sheep doing? Did you see that?
Here's a really good part of the video because I didn't catch on to this at first and genuinely thought I missed something. Essentially, in this clip, the red sheep walks up to the gate, sees it's closed, and walks away. Now, this is a little bit creepy because if we compare that behavior to the black sheep, essentially one of the normal sheep, it just walks up to the gate and sits there doing nothing, much like an NPC would. And this is where I have to give props to the video again. We are slowly building up the horror, we're 20 minutes into the video and we haven't had a jump scare, only the weird activities of the sheep, including this clip. Once again, our protagonist mentions the weirdness of this and continues thinking about the sheep, and then he has an idea. What if he only does it when I'm not looking? So he leaves and starts showing us around his little house in the hill, the scenery, his farm, menial things really, but all with the idea that maybe the sheep gets out when he's not paying attention to it. So after his little tour, he goes back to the sheep pen, and lo and behold, the sheep is still inside. However, it seemingly hasn't moved from the fence gate, which once again creeps him out. But like all other days, he leaves and goes to bed without results from his experiment.
What?
The sheep is in front of his house. Every other time in the video, the sheep has just been right outside the pen, but it's gotten closer to him. It is right outside his house. So out of his fear, he leads the sheep back to the sheep pen and brings it down into his little mine he made, which has a door. Logically, the sheep shouldn't be able to get out of the mine. He leaves the sheep in there and gets distracted having fun and basically just being a regular playthrough for a minute. But he decides to check on the sheep again and is still down in the mine, and he thinks everything is normal and decides to mine a little, thankful that the situation is over. He grabs some iron and...
What the? Oh, did he go down here? Wait a minute. He's not down here. Door's closed. Oh, that's creepy!
The sheep got out through a closed door. Now we know there's something up with the sheep, because sheep cannot open doors. Of course, the premise was introduced that the sheep was acting weird, and we've seen its behavior, but this solidifies that the sheep isn't normal. And once again, it brings in the creep factor. Once again, this is something that's done well in the video. I'm sorry about that. The subtle creepiness that helps build up the horror. This also proves that the sheep is starting to not care how close our protagonist is when it does this stuff. He was blocks away from it, and it just decided to leave the mine without a care that he might see it. It's getting bolder. Regardless, this is the moment the protagonist finally snaps. He gives up with, the kind, nice approach, not really interacting with the sheep other than bringing it back. He blocks the sheep against a wall, which effectively locks it in. There's no way the sheep can get out, right? After he blocks in the sheep, he goes to bed, finally content that the sheep is blocked in. He does mention that it feels like someone else is in the world, just talking about his friends and stuff. We're back to the normal playthrough style. He does check on the sheep by listening for sounds of it within the cobblestone box he made, and according to him, it's still in there. Finally, everything is normal again. He pops some iron into a furnace in his house and heads back to the sheep pen, which is where he put his mine because he wants to gather more iron. But he starts to feel guilty and says that he doesn't like animal cruelty, and he feels like what you do in a video game translates to how you are as an actual person. So he decides to let the sheep out of the box.
I like your red sheep, even though you're creeping me out. I'm gonna let you out. Whoa!
The sheep is gone. It's just gone. And honestly, that's a great setup. Of course the sheep is gone. It's managed to get out of every other thing he's tried to trap it in, so why would it stay in this cobblestone box? Of course, our protagonist is freaked out and is terrified at this point. He's starting to panic, and we honestly feel the same about the situation. It's really freaky. But he tries to come up with a reasonable explanation that maybe it suffocated in a wall or something. Just trying to explain the situation without going for an unreasonable explanation that it somehow got out. He solidifies in his mind that the sheep is dead and he killed it, and he feels bad about it. But ultimately, there's nothing he can do other than make a new red sheep if he wants more red wool. He shows us that he used the red sheep to decorate his bedroom because he likes red, and it's pretty sad to see that all he has left is the wool he used to decorate with. But after a while of wallowing, he decides he should make a new red sheep, despite it not being the same.
Ooh.
All the sheep are gone. Not just one or two, all of them are gone. A protagonist cannot find an explanation for this and finds it extraordinarily creepy. Now, I do have to say, this was kind of obvious. With how he's talking about loving the red sheep and deciding to make a new one, I kind of figured the sheep would be gone. However, that doesn't detract from the shock factor this does have. Think about it. If you're in his shoes and you just go to turn one of your sheep into a red one because you lost the old one and all of a sudden they're gone, it's effective when you haven't been a horror consumer for a few years. Regardless of my slight critique of this part, our protagonist goes and checks everywhere for the sheep, even in spots they realistically couldn't have got to, but they're just gone. Despite the current events, he goes back to his house to sleep away the night. This is when I caught on to something in the video. It's subtle, but if you pay attention, the day goes by much quicker in the video than they should. A Minecraft day is 20 real-time minutes, and watching the video, he goes through like a week of days, and this is without cuts in the footage that I could find. So something is definitely wrong with this world, and I love it. Just this subtle change that makes him have to leave the sheep more often and truly build up the suspense is great. That's enough glazing, though. Let's get back to the video. He decides that instead of going to bed, he's going to mine through the night.
I don't even want to go to bed now. I might just go mine through the night. Whoa! What the? Red sheep!
And we finally reached the pivotal moment. This is where all that suspense pays off because the red sheep is back and it's looking... well, it's not looking good, but it's got potential. Regardless, our protagonist goes and looks out the window again to see... it's gone. But with how short of a time this video has left, you know that sheep ain't really gone, and that's what I love. You're so invested in this slow burn story that once it kicks off, you know it's going to go far with everything it's done before to set up the sheep. The sheep basically has teleportation powers to this point with everything it's shown, and it can do considering that it Thanos snapped the other sheep. I don't think it's going to be merciful to our protagonist. As we go back to the video, everything is tense in this moment. You're waiting for the sheep to show up again, and you're preparing yourself for the jump scare that you can feel creeping up behind you. But instead, we get this.
Where'd he go? Whoa, what's that? Is that the sheep making that sound? That sounds like a sheep. Yeah, okay, that's not right. Get in the house, get in the house.
It's not a jump scare, but it's very effective. We can hear it and it sounds close, but it's not there. We can't see it as our protagonist turns around to look for it. Honestly, I also enjoyed this part of the video because it's just so off-putting. I can sing my praises later, though. Let's finish the analysis. He goes back inside, still shockingly calm with everything happening. I mean, he's obviously scared, but his reactions are so calm. He looks out the window, the creepy sounds of the sheep echoing through the house as he just surveys the area looking for it. He decides he's had enough and goes to bed.
Oh! Oh! Oh my gosh! What the? What the? That was creepy!
Our protagonist has a reasonable reaction to this, screaming and blocking up the door and deciding maybe we're not going to go through that door. And there's one last part of this video that I'm going to praise before I get into my critiques for the good and bad of this video. He digs a tunnel through the walls trying to look for the sheep to see if the coast is clear, and we get the second best scare of the video here.
Oh man, wait, where's the torch?
That right there, that's the second best scare. Now, to quickly finish things off, we get a chase sequence with the sheep, which I'm not a fan of. It feels cliche and it's just not to my taste, but it's still fairly effective. Now it's time for the fun part of this video. Now, this is where I voice my opinions on what was done well and what wasn't done well. I've done a couple analyses before, so this isn't fully my opinion, but it is my opinions, and you can have different opinions. And don't go attacking this guy in his comments, saying like, oh, this isn't that good. Please don't do that. I don't like it when people do that. It's just not fun for everyone involved. And obviously, I'm not trying to attack him. This is just me voicing my opinions on what I think could have been done better. So first things first, I have to talk about the thumbnail. It doesn't do the video justice, but it does have that clickbaity vibe going for it, so it does its job. I just wish it wasn't so generic. Honestly, I'm just gonna slap it in the middle, because I'm not gonna critique it too harshly, because it did get me to click on the video, so it does its job. Second off, the setup. This was beautiful practically all the way through. This setup for the scares was done so well. The door jump scare particularly actually got me on my first watch through because it was formulated perfectly. We watch him go to bed every night staring at that door, and you know it's going to be open, but it still gets you, especially with this high-pitched scare sound effect used when it happens. Which leads me to my next praise for this video. The sound design is amazing. The sheep sounds, the music in the background that becomes creepy as the horror amps up. It's just done so well. So the setup and the sound design are both going into the good category. The length of the video could be seen as a bad thing because not everyone is going to sit through 40 minutes of barely anything just for the payoff, and honestly, I think that's a skill issue, so I'm also putting it in the good category, and no one can change my mind. Now, for the elephant, or should I say sheep in the room, yeah, the sheep's design change at the end of the video is not my favorite. First off, it has this design that doesn't fit the 16 by 16 pixel style Minecraft has in the base game, and you could argue that it adds to the horror, but in my opinion, it detracts from it for me. I just don't like how many pixels are in the design. If you want to make the sheep have a creepy smile, just put a red line over the model, good, done. It still does the job, especially with such a good setup and story like this video has. So, the sheep's design is going to the bad category, mostly for my own sake, because it just doesn't work for me. Finally, the title. Now, I will admit, the title is like the thumbnail, because it does its job, so to preface, it's going in the middle with the thumbnail, but let's still talk about it. It says, My Red Sheep Developed a Creepy Smile. This title is fine. Like I said, I clicked on it, but it just doesn't capture the point of the video. The point of the video is that the red sheep keeps escaping and it eventually hunts down the player. You could easily have put My Sheep Keeps Getting Out or something like that. Once again, this is personal, but it does the job, so I'm not gonna bash this too hard. One last thing before I end the video. I want to talk about this guy's other videos. Due to wanting to make this video, I watched through some of his content, both older and recent, and I have to say, this is one of the better videos. He's a great storyteller, I'll give him that, but some of the premises in his videos are goofy. I watched a video about a giant block of glass that trapped some kid in it, and that was the entire video, nothing else. I was having a good chuckle at it, if I'm being honest. However, some of his videos do the job of being creepy fairly well. He has this old alpha VHS thing that he did. That was pretty good. There was also the We Fed Our Cow Meat video, which was not the best. It was kind of creepy at times, but it was definitely goofy and had the same character design issues that there were with the sheep. One of his most recent videos was actually an adaptation of a creepypasta and was almost on the same level as the sheep, and he even references the sheep video, telling us that it's the same world, which, you know, that's some continuity I wasn't expecting. All of this is to say that he has a good grasp of how to do some creepy videos, and I'm definitely going to watch more because I like this guy's style, and I hope he puts out another banger like the sheep. Also, you should totally go watch his videos. Some of them might not be for me, but they might be your type of thing, and he definitely deserves some recognition. I think he's a pretty popular guy, though, so do with that what you will. But I still think you guys should go watch him if creepy videos are your style. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you like this analysis type of style I'm doing. I really hope this wasn't a disappointment because I want to put out more videos like this, and your support would mean everything to me. And if you did like it, why don't you go click the funny button that tells me that, yeah? Anyway, Void out. So I am currently in the middle of editing this video, and I figured I would drop I figured I would drop in at the end to mention that the production of this video had to be pushed back because of one, the production of Phoenix Pirates and figuring all that stuff out, which yeah, it's still in limbo. And two, I recently injured my wrist, so it has been very difficult for me to draw and work on anything. And I'm working on fixing that. I've been wearing a brace the entire time editing this video. But hopefully I get everything I need because the brace is not what I wanted and what would actually be beneficial for me. It helps, but it doesn't do what I need it to do currently. But I just wanted to thank you guys for watching this video, and please tell me if you like it because I really like making these types of videos. I've been having a lot of fun editing it and just making it in general. Still working on Phoenix Pirates. A little difficult with the current wrist situation. I just wanted to say, if you could support me in any way you can, like support my Patreon that I have linked in my bio, like this video, subscribe to me, whatever works for you, whatever you can realistically do. I would like to be able to actually afford for college and production of Phoenix Pirates, but once again, only if you can. Thank you for watching this video all the way through, and I'm so sorry for rambling at the end, but I just wanted to get that out and explain a bit more. Just explaining that production is down because of my wrist. Thank you, though, and have a good day.